Dear viewer, thank you for taking the time to view this video. Data collection and recap of commuter features. Firstly, a data collection period occurred, and commuters who used the app physically performed first-mile, last-mile commuting around the Bidok test site. Let's now see an overview of the commuter features that the commuters used during this data collection period. In the sign-up process, demographic information useful for analysis is collected alongside the usual credentials. Explicit consent to the use of the data for research is also obtained from the user. Finally, some commuting preferences are also collected. The CRMA includes unique Singaporean topography from our point cloud scans that is used to generate the suggested routes. For example, shortcuts via HDB blocks. The commuter can manually customize the suggested route according to some typical preferences. For example, if he prefers sheltered routes. Here we see that the suggested route will have as much shelter as possible. This is another example of how unique topography from our scans were used to generate routes. As we can see in this comparison of the routes generated by the CRMA and Google Maps, only the CRMA route took into account information from our point cloud scans to generate sheltered routes. As another example of manual route customization, the commuter may prefer to have more greenery in their commute. Here we can see that the suggested route will try to include paths through parks. The CRMA will collect information after each trip in order to update the learning model of each commuter. This allows it to automatically generate personalized routes over time. Commuters can also toggle feature markers on the map in order to highlight unique features that may help in wayfinding. For example, barrier-free access features that will be helpful for wheelchair users. From this point of the video, each segment shows a planner feature that starts with a code that corresponds to each feature you are required to review in the Google form. For planner accounts, there is an additional planner's interface based on an interactive map view. The planner can choose from a number of features that overlay commuting information on the map. Planners can view aggregated frequencies of first-mile, last-mile route usage. For example, here we see that the bulk of the paths generated are in the Bidok region, which is our test site. Almost all users will use this route besides the Wind Valley to walk into the HDB zone, compared to walking beside New Upper Changi Road, suggesting more facilities are needed for this road. From this view, we can see when a user walks from Bidok North Drive to this HDB region, no one chooses to turn left. Almost all will turn right or walk straight into the HDB zone. Google Street View shows that there is no shelter on the left, but there are tree canopies on the right. This shows people prefer to walk under shelters and covers. When commuters come out from the MRT and travel to Bidok North region, we can see a huge traffic volume on Road 1 compared to Road 2, suggesting a better facility is probably needed for Road 2, so more commuters will choose to walk there. In the Detours view, planners can look at how commuters have deviated from the suggested routes. For example, here we can see that in this trip, the commuter strictly followed the route. In this other trip, the green line is completely different from the red line, which shows that the commuter deviated substantially from the suggested route. In this other example, we see that the user is taking a very different route in the second half of the trip. If we check the actual location, we will see that the user is following the sheltered route all the way in the second half of the route, indicating that the CRMA may need to suggest a more sheltered path to him. Planners can also view information about the commuter, including their recorded preferences, so that they may be able to make inferences about the commuter in relation to the detour information. For example, here we can see that the user prefers ramps and prefers no shelter. Hence, the suggested path may not be appropriate and he made a detour. With regards to informal routes, planners can also view aggregated frequencies of the informal routes that were used. Here we can see that the bulk of the informal routes were created in the Bidok test site as well. Planners can also pick any particular recorded route and look at the details. Planners can similarly view information about the commuter to possibly make inferences about the commuter using the demographic and preferences data in relation to the route information. All past trips of all commuter users are recorded in a cloud database. The database can be exported for future use in other planner analysis tools. Thanks for watching.